Yo, we had mega bombshells in the Evelyn Boswell trial on day one, and we're going to review some of those in today's video. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. The sofa's missing. I'm right here. My name's Paul if you're new to the channel. If you're not new to the channel, my name is still Paul. And the sofa is currently missing right now because I'm not at the sofa. Okay. But we were on the sofa today on the podcast channel. We live streamed the entire day one over there, and it was crazy the things that we learned. So for this video, what we're going to do is going to be very casual. I made notes on my phone. I'm just going to read through them real quick and just kind of recap the things that literally just stuck out of my mind about day one. If you're unfamiliar with this trial, I have a playlist. I've done numerous videos on it. This is the case against Evelyn Boswell. Her baby girl, Evelyn Boswell, went missing. She did not report her, and then the remains were ultimately found, about a month or so later or whatever. Of course, Megan says she did not do it. The state and most everybody else says she did, and here we are at this trial in Tennessee. Now, we're going to learn about a lot of those things during the proceedings of day one, so let's just go ahead and get into it. Okay, so first things first, they seat the jury, all that kind of stuff. Then within 2 days we go. The state gets up and outlines the charges. There's 20 charges, okay? And it was a kind of odd opening, I guess you could say, because it was a little bit like, well, what are we doing this for, whatever, but maybe that's how they do it there. Anyways, I'm just going to read through these. So they're hitting her with all sorts of charges, from obviously the big M to lying and, hindering the investigation. So she lied about the baby being with Ethan. We'll get more into that. The dad, but that's air quotes right now. She lied to officers about searching for the daughter. She lied about the last contact, the last sighting of her. She lies about conversations with Ethan Perry. That's the alleged dad. She lies about giving Evelyn to Ethan Perry. She lied about seeing Evelyn, last seeing her with Ethan. There's a custody issue she lied about. She lied about seeing Evelyn with Ethan, and then the mom saying, don't report her missing, Megan's mother. She lied about the mom taking the baby. She's numerous versions of that if you followed this. She said that, the mom took the baby. She also said the mom took the baby because she owed her money. She said the mom took the baby and gave her to somebody. All these things are lies, right? During the opening statement, Megan cries, and she will cry numerous times throughout the day, right? Then we get into the opening statements, and the state is saying, you know what, this is going on, and friends start asking, where's Evelyn? Where's Evelyn? And Megan always has a story. She always has an excuse. But then she stops showing up at like doctor appointments and things of this nature, and the state will say because she knows, there's no reason to go, right? She doesn't have Evelyn. She's never going to see Evelyn again. And she'll make up lies. She'll be like, oh, I forgot about this, or I forgot about that, or oh, I missed the appointment, and this, that, and the other. However, this starts to raise red flags. Now, Megan's father's name is Tommy. Okay, now this is ultimately on his property where the remains of baby Evelyn will be found. So Tommy eventually gets to the point, he's like, show me Evelyn or I'm calling the cops, okay? We already know she can't show Tommy, her father, Evelyn, because she allegedly knows where Evelyn is, right? So he contacts the police, and this is about when we as the general public get introduced to this case, okay? Because you can only imagine, it's very similar to Casey Anthony. He's calling, I haven't seen her, this, that, the other. Megan gets involved, where's the baby? Oh, I know where she's at, so on and so forth. If you've been following it, then you already know, okay? And they bring this up during the opening statements. Now, remember Ethan, we talked about him. So Megan is saying that Ethan had Evelyn, only here's the clincher. Ethan is not actually the real father of Evelyn. Ethan was led to believe that he was the real father, okay? Now, also, there's another thing about this. When she's making up these lies to begin with about him having the baby, Ethan's in the army. Ethan lives in the barracks, okay? So she's getting the government involved in this now. Well, you can only imagine this was very quickly determined to be a lie, okay? Last we checked, people don't have little babies living in the barracks with them, right? I mean, this is very obvious, okay? So there's that. Now, also, we learn, and this is very graphic, this is very trigger warning, so be prepared. Evelyn was placed in a trash can. This trash can was from Megan's home, okay? It was hidden in Megan's playhouse. When I say Megan's playhouse, this was a playhouse in front of her grandmother's house that she played in when she was a little kid. So it was there, and we'll talk about it more in a minute. So this garbage can is there. It has baby Evelyn in it. She is upside down. Her head's tilted because she was pushed down in there. She has aluminum foil wrapped around her and then other garbage on top of her. And there's eggshells, household waste in there. I mean, she literally, it gives me goosebumps, threw this child away, okay? It's absolutely heartbreaking, and hearing this take place, like in an opening statement and her describing it, was gut-wrenching. I mean, our mouths, I'm saying in the live chat, our mouths were proverbially on the ground, okay? Then around this time, Megan gets another boyfriend. Said boyfriend, his name is Hunter, I believe. I believe we are going to be hearing from him, maybe. Hunter apparently has money. He's doing well. He's moving and shaking. He's doing this, that, and the other. So they're dating. She's moving in with him. She's falling in love. They're going on vacations. They're doing stuff. But there's no baby Evelyn. Now, for me at this point, I was like, oh my gosh, this is very Susan Smith. This is very Diane Downs. This is very Casey Anthony, all rolled into one, okay? Now, after that, the defense will get up there. Now, the defense will get one sentence out. He'll be like, I know this is terrible. And the judge will be like, stop, everyone stand up, whatever. He'll be like, jurors, get out of the courtroom. They all leave. And the judge is like, are you the court-appointed photographer? And he's like, if I see one more flash coming from your camera, you are going to spend 10 days in jail for contempt of court. I was like, oh my gosh. Now, he already gave a warning before court started that he was like, there will be H to pay in this courtroom if the live stream catches the jurors. If it does anything, he's like, and mute the thing and do this, but he ain't playing, y'all, okay? And we'll see more of this in a minute, but we'll get to that. Okay, so they do all this. This is a big thing. They take a break. The defense comes back in. Now, if you watch this with me, you'll know. The defense guy has a way of speaking that he kind of slurs his words together. He has what I would call kind of like a country accent. The accent, I grew up around this, so it's not like I can understand what he's saying in that context. But the way he slurs his speech together and kind of does like run-on sentences it's hard to understand. But then overall from that, he is literally throwing everything against the wall that he can and jumping from thing to thing. It's confusing. You don't really know which way is up and what he's talking about, but he's essentially trying to cast doubt on anything he can. That's his job, obviously, right? So he's trying to say it could have been an accident. Somebody could have rolled over in the baby. Her new boyfriend had access to the baby. Tommy had access to the baby. Tommy's the one who called. How do we know this, that, and the other? So he's just blame. To me, it very much felt like a page out of Casey Anthony's book with their attorneys. Of if you throw enough stuff, because remember, they're just looking for reasonable doubt, okay? To convince that jury, one person, that, you know what, this could have been this or that. Or maybe even try and get her on the lesser charges, but not the big one, right? Again, that's his job. That's what he's trying to do. However, as the evidence comes forth, I personally, from a sofa speculation area, have no idea how he could pull this one off, but we'll see. Now, also as a side note, during this, the closed captions were completely off. This is a very serious case, but we would find, I don't know what you call it, like levity or moments of relief from the heaviness of it, because the closed captions were so off the chain wrong and made no sense at times and were just crazy. They eventually turned them off and they came back from lunch, probably because of this very reason. Now, the first witness would be major, okay? And this was one of the officers that showed up and would eventually find Evelyn's body, okay? So he starts talking, he shows up for the missing person case, and he starts talking about immediately we're getting all these several stories. They don't add up, at all. And so then they get into the part about searching the playhouse, Megan's playhouse. Now I want to stop here, not stop, but just, add this. They show a diagram of the property. Remember, this is Tommy, Megan's father's property. And they're showing like, well, here's where Tommy's house was, and here's where the grandma's place was, and here's where the playpen was, and here's where the yard barn was, like a storage unit. Okay, so a couple of things to make note of. First of all, in my mind, I envisioned the playhouse to be like a little plastic Fisher-Price, I think that's what it's called, right? Like way back in the yard that had been forgotten about. This was a little 2-story wooden, like, playhouse, okay, like a legit house next to the storage unit, right, like in the front yard of the grandma's place, okay? So I was like, oh, I didn't know this was like right here, okay? It just had this eerie, creepy vibe. Now they start showing the pictures of this, and he's basically talking like when they go in and they show where the trash can was. I mean, she basically just opened the door and put the trash can in there, right? And they're going through, and he thought it was a baby doll at first, and it was heartbreaking, and this was such a heavy moment because as you're hearing the way that she was disposed of. It's just, I mean, allegedly Megan, right? At this point, she hasn't been convicted, literally just threw this child away. Okay. It was like not a secondary thought to it. And they go into great detail. And during this also, Megan is crying audibly. You can hear it. I'm like, seriously? And this is a moment where I was like, I would love to be there and see what the jury is doing and how they're looking at her and interacting, right? Now, side note, Luke, the dog, my dog, if you follow me, you know what I'm talking about. He's over here eating right now, so you might hear him in the background crunching on something, okay? It just is what it is, okay? Now, this testimony goes on for quite some time, and they're walking him through this, and they're going through this. We don't even really get to the defense. Now, during this whole thing, so first of all, let me get to this right here. They're talking about going to lunch. Well, when they get ready to do this, they go off to lunch, and the judge is like, okay, bring so-and-so in here. They bring this guy in here, Austin Feller, and he comes in, he's in street clothes, whatever, and the judge is like, boy, you got a subpoena. And you didn't answer it. So guess what? You got $500 bond, boy. And the judge is basically like, if you don't show up and do A, B, and C when you're supposed to, you're going to be held without bond in county jail during the remainder of this. The judge ain't playing, y'all. Okay, and remember, this is like a 3-week trial. Jury sequestered. Okay, this is very serious. They go to lunch, right? And they come back. Now, they then get into this whole thing, this whole conversation about something that the detective said. So this all goes down. There's this whole scenario of the guy on the stand, the officer, had made some comment about saying that Megan said Evelyn was dead, and the defense is like, well, we can't do that because it skews the jury, this, that, and the other. We learn a little bit of what took place during the police interview through this. Now, very quickly, just to let you know, they have to actually end court early, give the judge the 2-hour interview to go look at, send the jury to the hotel so he can decide essentially the context, right? And in this, the defense is saying, well, and I believe the prosecutor as well, the officer made some comment in front of the jury about Evelyn lied and she went ahead and said the baby was dead. But the defense is saying, well, no, she was saying that her boyfriend rolled over on the baby. So it's almost like a misleading thing he's saying of, well, the baby's dead. And it's like, well, no, she's saying that the baby, the boyfriend rolled over. So we got this little, sneak peek into that. So court ends, judge is like, I'm going to my chambers. He's over it, right? He is done, okay? He's like, I'm going to look at this. This is why we should have done this before court and And I'm thinking, show the interview. I'll sit through 2 hours of it. Okay, show the whole interview. I want to see that so bad. Now, it's my understanding the defense is totally trying to keep this out, and you can imagine why, right? So that was kind of it. This was shocking. This was heartbreaking. It literally was such an emotional thud. I was left speechless. And if you follow me, plays, right? Just absolutely crazy. So for me, the biggest shockers were clearly the way that baby Evelyn was disposed of. The aluminum foil around the head, the placement in the trash can, the playhouse being so close to the house, but then also, Megan's running off with a boyfriend. The baby daddy, Ethan, wasn't even the real father. She made him think that he was. Made up numerous lies about the mother, talking about, well, I owe mom money, and so she took the baby and wouldn't give it back. I mean, she threw everyone under the bus that she could, and probably is going to blame the judge at some point, right? I mean, we'll have to see. So that is it. We're going to be live streaming on the podcast channel as much as we can. I'll do quick updates over here with the big stuff. So just stay tuned. And if you watch, let me know down in the comment section what you thought. And if you didn't watch, still let me know what you thought down in the comment section. And while you are there, if you could please drop some little sofas off for myself, Roscoe and Spirit, Bo and Luke, and the rest of the Sofa Squad, so I have a place to sit and hang out and talk about this case and all the other ones that we do cover here at the Sofa Squad. And until we meander on down there and do that, I'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now, don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.